at this time I was in a tower block. I was in a 2-bedroom accommodation in Sutton, and quite isolated away from family and friends, because my mum's side of the family, they all reside in Bristol, and I grew up in Bristol. It was the first place I was living when I first came to the United Kingdom. So, just being in London just being in London in general was just being in the UK is a culture shock, but moving from Bristol to London is like culture shock.
Before you came to London, how old was you before you came here?
So I was in Bristol. So I was born in Jamaica, and then I was in Bristol from the age of 9 until end of year 8. So that should have been 13, 12, 13.
And what was your life like in Jamaica?
In Jamaica, I don't really have a lot of memories, but I remember being happy. I remember being sad. I remember my mum wasn't around. My dad wasn't around. I remember seeing my dad maybe once or twice. I remember my mum flying over and coming back for Christmas and things like that, giving us presents. But it was a lot of the time was spent with my little brother and his dad. So he was basically my stepdad.
So you were raised by your stepdad?
My stepdad, yeah. My mum was back and forth, so I had my older sister on my mum's side, but she was in Kingston with her dad. So I didn't really see her until my mum actually sent for me and her. And then later on my brother's dad died, and then my mum sent for my brother. So I've got 2 siblings on my mum's side, and I've got over 21 siblings on my dad's side. But I haven't met I haven't met all of them. I know some of them are in the States, some of them are in Jamaica. I've actually met 2. Met 2 of them. Yeah, 20, over 20. I don't know the exact number. I just heard it's over 21.
Can I ask, is your dad in Jamaica or your dad over here?
He's in Jamaica.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in Jamaica. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to go. There's 2 places I want to go, but I'm going to go forwards and then we'll go back if we need to. So you're now in the UK, and how is it adapting to the UK system of living?
Well, in Bristol, from what I can remember, it was a lot easier. Everyone knew everybody. It was kind of I suppose you could compare it to Hackney and a community. But there's 2 places in Bristol that a lot of people may be more familiar with, because it's got the most black people, if you want to put it like that. So Eastern and St. Paul's is very multicultural, and I remember going to Carnival, St. Paul's Carnival. Spent a lot of my, I spent a lot of my time more kind of focusing on sports when I was in school, sports and I just remember being a very good athlete. I used to be good at 100 meters, 200 meters. I used to always come first in the high jump, the long jump, and then because I just came from Jamaica as well. Everybody used to come to me for all the latest dance moves and stuff. So dancing was another thing that I used to do before I even started writing music and doing poetry and all of that stuff, and even acting. But yeah, I think Bristol is more kind of home. I have no bad, I have memories of getting to fights as we always do in school and stuff, but it wasn't I just remember just having lots of fun. I had my we had a little dancing group. We used to perform, have little talent shows and stuff like that. It was fun. And actually I didn't lose my virginity until when I first came to London is when I lost my virginity. So I never forget when my mum was like, yeah, she's moving to London because she's a nurse, and she knew that if she moved to London, she's going to get better pay. So I always remember like my cousin saying, I'm not ready for London, like Jodie's not ready for London, that's my family nickname. Like Jodie's not ready for London and stuff. And never forget like one cousin in particular, like he was really annoyed with my mum. You know, and that was like, yeah, but back then I didn't really understand. Now I do. So yeah.
So then you get to London. What's London
Get to
like?
London. I didn't do no sports when I came to London. I think the only sports I probably did in school was swimming, and that was when I was going Battersea Tech. At the time it was called Battersea Tech. But I don't remember doing any sports, so that again was like a big change, because I was always used to like, you know, what else? Like all the men were on me. It was just different. Like.
Can we talk about that? When you say the men were on you, what do you mean? How old was you at this point as well?
13.
You said
13,
men.
yeah, 13.
Men on.
Yeah, like at school, like the older men at school. Men in my year as well, but mainly like so I was in year 9, so I started year 9. So mainly like year 10, year 11s. Yeah, mainly like year 10 to year 11. But my first boyfriend, like, I don't even want to say boyfriend, but the first guy I lost my virginity to, I'm sure he was year 11 when I was in year 9, because I remember leaving when he was in 6th form. So yeah, it was traumatic, but I didn't really understand everything that was going on back then. So yeah.
So then it's played into relationships you started getting into.
Yeah.
So because you spoke about obviously one particular relationship, but was it just one, or was there relationships that led to you thinking?
Then getting pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like, I didn't get pregnant from that time. It was more kind of like what it did to me, because do you know what, like, I think I told my mum this, but I was always curious about, like we all are, I was always curious about sex, like when I was growing up. So when I was in Bristol, even though I didn't lose my virginity, and when I was in Bristol, I never forget, like, my mum, she used to have like this tape, like, you know, back in the day we used to watch like cassettes, like used cassettes. And it was like the small TV as well. And then I never forget, I always used to go in the room like when she would be downstairs, and like just curious, you know, I'll push it in and then I see porn, you know. So it's like in my head, she's like, what? I was like, yeah, in my head I was like, I didn't understand, but this is why I believe in, like, I do believe in demons, like I believe, because they, like, when I was watching that, like, all the things that I was like experiencing, I didn't even understand, but I started like doing things, and so I always had it in my head like it was normal, you know.
They programmed the demon into you.
Exactly. So it was like when my man's like, oh, I want to take you cinema, in my head I'm just thinking cinema, Hustle and Flow. That's the year Hustle and Flow came out. And we went to watch Hustle and Flow. It was on a weekend, and it was just us in the cinema, and we were at the back. And then I never forget, like, that's when it happened, like, because he started doing one thing and it led to another. But he should have, well, I saw him later on in life and he apologized to me, but he, I don't know why I was protecting him, because even like when, you know, whilst it was happening, it was like, I just remember feeling pain, like lots of pain. It wasn't like it was pleasurable, and it probably was for him, but not for me. And I remember going home, and there was blood on my hoodie, and my sister asking me like what, like told my sister, and then she told my mum, and my mum at the time I was living with my uncle in Broadway, like Garrett Lane. So it was my uncle's house. When we first came from Bristol. So my uncle, my uncle's wife, and my mum, my sister, and my 2 cousins. Yeah, my uncle's children were all in that house. And I'll never forget, like, my sister telling everyone, and they were like asking me like for his name, like everything, you know, like who, because they wanted to report him to the police, and for some reason I just didn't.
Do you feel like in that moment, because you were always curious, did you feel like you were partly to blame, if we use a term? So in that sense of not giving his name up, did you at the time see him as doing anything wrong?
No, I didn't understand it. I thought it was like, I don't know.
So, sorry, would you say that you was raped?
Yeah, 100%.
That's only now looking back, right?
Yeah, because like I said, I saw the guy. He's a Muslim. I seen him, and he. I remember saying like, you know, like if I go through my Facebook messages, I could just read them, but I'm not going to do that. But I remember going, you know, messaging him and stuff, confronting him about it, and all he said to me was he was a horny teenager, and that he was really sorry. Yeah.
So how does that now play into your relationships or ideas of men going forward?
Well, I feel like a part of me was always looking for love, because I feel like I'm a female. Well, I feel every female needs the dad, but I feel like, yeah, like, I feel like if my dad should have been like a big part of my life, but you know, it is what it is. Like, we are where we are, but I feel like where my mum was only concerned on, I don't know, like my mum made sure that we ate in it. My mum made sure that there was always food on the table. She worked hard. But she was like, the only thing I remember my mum saying to me and my sister was, make sure you don't get pregnant. Just don't get pregnant. That's the only, and that was in Bristol. That's the only thing I remember. Like, I don't remember anything else.
What did you need instead, in reflection?
I needed a best friend, not like I needed a best friend from my mum.
Did you and your sister have a good relationship?
My sister, because me and my sister flew over, we were always close, but I feel like because my mum used to always ask her take me out with her. Like, I remember she took me to like one party once in Peckham, and after that she never took me out again, because like all the guys were like talking to me and stuff like that. She never took me out again. And then I remember like one time, my sister, if she ever sees this, I love you, but I have to tell the truth. One time she burnt me with the iron as well. I still got the burn. Yeah, like, and it was like little things like just over like the remote control and things like
Purposely.
that. Like,
Purposely.
yeah, my sister, yeah, over the remote control. And the thing is, that's because my sister, she used to watch movies. I could spend a whole day watching like music videos back then. So she'd always like want to change it and put it on like Charmed or whatever.
So, because what you're alluding to is the programming that you lot were getting. So you lot were getting, no one might not have known it, but you were all getting programmed to play out certain characteristics and then behaviours, and then ended up getting into situations.
And that's something that we always mention. We always say programming.
Yeah.
And just basically, you know, put your stamp on it.
And that's why I love to listen to Neelam Hakeem. I don't know if you've heard of her. But yeah, like whenever I listen to her, you know, the whole situation of just my life, like everything that's been going on, it's just played out in front of me.
So, sorry, can I ask you, what did you take from being raped? Like, how do you see it now? How do you function?
How do I function? To be honest, it wasn't just him. There's quite a few people, but
What do you mean?
it's, you know, like there's memories I have,
Yeah.
but I don't remember I don't remember the
You store it
faces.
away in a box.
Exactly
You
that.
don't want to remember it.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember their faces like I remember, you know. But it's like just being vulnerable and not having that protection, like, because I was always, you know, the one to leave my mum's and go, like, when she's at work and stuff, and I'd be in the studio or I'd be just out, you know, like finding things to do. So I came across a lot of,
Devils.
exactly.
Sorry,
Yeah.
You said that the one thing you remember your mum saying is not to get pregnant. Throughout any of your childhood, whether it be your mum, your sister, or adults you're around, you ever spoken to about sex? Like in an educational way?
No.
Was
Not
it
that I
still-
can remember. And things like that you remember. Things like that you would definitely remember.
So how did that make you view men? With your experience? If you're
I
saying
don't know,
multiple-
like, I've always been drawn to men. In a weird way. It's like I've always thought, I don't know how to explain it, like,
Curiosity.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
always,
still there.
yeah, no, I've always just been, so it's always been drawn to men.
Has it kind of skewed your image of them in terms of, like, has it damaged how you see men, or is it just like you give every new man a new chance?
That's a good question, you know, because sometimes I feel like, why don't I get to that stage, like, where I'm just like, fuck men, like, and I'm not to say that I don't, I do, but
Mean.
yeah, like,
But I
mean
think
it, and
your spirit knows, because for the fact that your spirit knows that you want men, because men and women are, there's a duality.
exactly,
So there's something about
yeah.
it, but there's obviously your experience is probably wide with the emotional of, like, oh, this is what I know, so I'm going to keep going to this dysfunction because I've been programmed to.
Yeah, that's a
like,
good point as well, yeah.
Would you say there's a common thing between the guys that you find yourself attracted to?
You know what, I find this interesting because, you know, one thing the courts actually said was my choices of partners, and I kind of took it as like, I kind of asked myself, like, if I was with a white man, would they say that? Because, like, all my children's dads they're all black. So sometimes I do think, like, you know, and the experiences that I go through with men, it's like they don't respect, you know, what I've been through or what I'm going through. It's because it's like, I don't know, like, who feels it knows it, innit? So it's like, but they're not really gonna truly understand until they see, if I don't know, if I wasn't this strong, God didn't give me the strength, and I ended up in a mental hospital or something like that, you know. But thank God it's never got to that stage, and I'm still here, and I'm just doing, like, everything that I can to not get to that stage.
What do you think has attracted you to these men? What is it that pulls you towards these kind of men?
don't think so, because I feel like in the beginning, I mean, after all of that stuff happened, and I was doing my music and I was performing. I remember like how I met my older two children's father was actually at a music event. So it's like, even when you're trying to do things, it's like it's still there waiting for you on your doorstep. So it's like, okay, like I didn't really expect to go to that event and then end up, you know, but it happened. And with him, I think the only difference was with him, like he was, to me at the time, he was like a role model. You know, like I looked up to him, like I used to listen to him, like we spent a lot of time together. He used to do like a lot of spiritual like talk shows and stuff on YouTube, and like, you know, like it wasn't until I got pregnant then he just
Madness.
he just changed.
It's the spiritual ones, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, yeah, it was just, it's very shocking, but at the same time, I remember meeting his friend later on as well, like, and his friend saying to me, what he taught him, he used it for bad instead of good, you know, and he never really went into it, like, with me properly, but yeah, he used to say a lot of things, and his mum used to always say she don't want him using the children for his experiments, and I used to think, why would his mum say that, you know? And he was on, you know, that program called Naked Attraction.
Yeah.
He was on that as well, and he's riding a bike on YouTube, like naked. So there's a lot of things that are in question, not just from like what he's done. I mean, there's a lot of things in question, probably what I've done, but like,
I think your accountability is key though.
yeah,
A lot of these people are not taking accountability. I think they get to a place of like, oh, yeah, I messed up here, or I didn't know, or I was possessed, whatever it is.
yeah.
But the fact that you're doing that is a step.
What I'm getting from this, what I'm getting from this is like pros and cons. That's all I can really hear. It's like there's a pro in you not allowing your previous situations to tarnish you moving forward. And that's a beautiful thing. But the con is, you know, like, obviously how can you know who a person is until you're actually in that space with them?
That's what I always say to social.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it's very telling. Not necessarily about you,